Less than a day after pushing through an injury at my US Open qualifier, I was back on the course. This time at Blainvillier for a one-day East Coast Pro Tour event. I wasn't sure what my body had left or what kind of round was coming. But what unfolded surprised even me.
Oh my god.
Morning guys, welcome back to the channel. So it is the morning after the US Open qualifier. If you haven't seen that video, do yourself a favor, go check it out. But to quickly recap, my recent injury has flared back up. Yesterday I played through a ton of pain. It did not go great, as you can imagine. We have another tournament this morning. We have a one-day East Coast Pro Tour event at Blainvillier. Now some of you might be asking, James, if you're injured, why are you playing this morning? And that is a great question. For one, I was already registered and I wouldn't get a refund at this point. Two, it's golf, and I like golf. Three, Roxanne had already booked the day off to come and film, and I didn't want to bail on her. But yeah, my glute / back feels a little bit better than it did yesterday. It's by no means great, but we're just gonna go out today and just try to have some fun. I'm not too worried about my ball striking at this point. I know that there's some physical limitations. I just want to continue working on my short game because I was very happy with how that went yesterday. So we're just going to kind of go out there and see what happens. Stay tuned. So it's a beautiful day here at Club de Golf Le Blainvillier, just north of the city of Montreal. It's not going to be an overly warm day, but the sun is out. We're expecting a decent amount of wind today, but less than we had in Albany yesterday. There are two courses here on the property. We are playing the Heritage course, which is 6,880 yards long. They decided to switch around the nines on the Heritage course this year, so today we're teeing off on what used to be the 10th hole. So we are playing the historically back nine first in this new reroute that they have.
From Montreal, Quebec, James Colin Davis.
And here we go. The first hole is a 357 yard par 4. Pretty much straight away, there's a late little dog leg to the left. Normally I would hit hybrid on this hole. Today it was playing a little bit into the wind, and as I mentioned, you can see I'm still wearing a hoodie. It's still a little bit cool out, so I've elected to hit 3-wood. This should leave me with a pretty good yardage in to attack this green. I just feel like driver is a little bit of an aggressive play on this hole because it does get pretty narrow. All in all, that swing felt pretty good. It did turn over on me, unfortunately, and that's going to finish in the left rough. Now, really not that far offline, but I am kind of blocked out by those trees. The pin is on the back right of the green up on this shelf. I really don't have an angle at it from where I am. I'm hitting pitching wedge from 121 yards, and I have to kind of try to hook it around those trees if I'm going to get this close. Good strike, good movement on it, really good line. Landed very close to the hole actually, but coming out of that rough just didn't have the spin necessary to hold the green. So that finishes just off the back, but all things considered from where we were, it was not a bad leave. Pretty simple little chip. Like the contact there, it was good for distance, and I expected it to turn left, but that turned much heavier to the left than I was anticipating. So I've left myself about 4.5 feet here for my par on this opening hole. This would be big for momentum. You don't want to drop a shot on the first hole, especially in a one-day event. Really nice stroke there. That keeps us at even par through the first hole. The second hole is a dogleg left par 4 coming in at 506 yards. Now, During the summer, when it's a little warmer out and when I'm not injured, I would usually take my drive kind of up over the corner of the trees to really shave some distance off of the hole. Today, I'm going to play it a little bit more safe. I was trying to go over the center of the bunker. I did push it a little bit, but overall, a pretty good drive. That's going to put us in the fairway. We have 232 yards left in here to a pin on the front right of the green. I'm hitting my hybrid, trying to get it up onto the green, and I just kind of pushed it out to the right a little bit. There's water down the left. I'm not really sure how my body is working yet, so that was definitely a bit of a safety shot. And unfortunately, I was pin high and pretty well placed, but I was on this kind of dead grass coming out of winter, and it was awfully wet, so hitting my 60-degree and trying to lob this up onto the green was going to be a very difficult shot. I elected instead to take my gap wedge and tried to bump it up the slope like that, but unfortunately just did not quite get it all the way through the rough, though it did finish on the fringe. So we're just on the fringe. We've got this putt for birdie, so you can see it goes uphill as it goes through the fringe, and then it's going to kind of flatten out and turn a little bit from my left to right. Now, obviously would have preferred to have had a better look at birdie on this hole, but let's see if we can give this a chance. Good effort, just a slight underread, finishes just right of the hole. We will tap in for our par. The third hole is a par 3, playing 206 yards today, straight back into the wind. There is water right of the green. The pin is on the left side of the green. There's a bit of a collection area left of the green. I'm hitting a 4-iron here. It sounds like a lot of club, but into the wind, a little bit cold. I knew that this was going to be the right club. Really nice swing, good strike, just right of the flag. I hit this so well that I was telling it to sit, and it actually didn't even make it to pin high, so that gives you an idea of how poorly the ball is traveling this morning. So I've got this relatively good look at birdie for this long par 3, about 18 feet going up the hill, turning from right to left. I would like to give this a chance to go in. Had the line, just never hit it. That was a much slower putt than I'd expected going back up that hill. Would have liked to have given that a better chance of going in, but it does leave me a short par putt for a very stress-free par on a bit of a challenging par 3. The fourth hole is a 385-yard par 4. You can see that it's pretty straight away, but the fairway does dogleg a little bit to the left around the bunkers on the corner. I'm hitting 3-wood on this hole. Again, it gets a little bit tight if you're hitting driver, and I just want to make sure that I'm putting this in play in the fairway. A good 3-wood gives me a wedge in regardless, so it's not like I'm really laying it back that far. That was a good swing, right in the middle of the fairway. Pretty good strike. That leaves me 130 yards to this back right flag here over that bunker. So I'm hitting a small pitching wedge, trying to control the distance and the flight to give myself a good look at birdie here. You'll see this is going to land on the green, take a huge hop, and then finally decides to check up right next to the hole. That looked like it was going to continue going for a second, but that's a quality golf shot right there. Left myself about 3 feet here for my birdie. And this was a surprisingly difficult putt. This had a significant amount of break from right to left, so I actually had to start this a little bit outside of the right edge. We convert the birdie. That gets us to 1 under. Pretty good start to the day. The fifth hole is another par 4, this one 418 yards long, dog legs to the right. So I'm hitting driver on this one, and I'm trying to be a little aggressive. I'm trying to hit a bit of a cut around the corner here, just to make sure that I can keep the ball in the fairway and put a shorter wedge into my hands for my approach shot. Really nice swing there, great execution, exactly the ball flight that I had pictured, and that's going to be right down the middle. That left me 111 yards in to this front left flag. I'm hitting a gap wedge here, just trying to control the distance. Felt like the strike was good. It was on a pretty good line, and it just came up well short. And this has been a bit of a theme as I fight through this injury, is that my wedge distances have been very, very hard to control. So I've got this little chip here up the hill, not a ton of green to work with, but luckily it is sloping towards me. Really nice execution there. I was actually upset with that shot because I didn't give it a chance to go in. So that tells you how far my short game has come. Again, a short little 2 foot, 2.5 foot putt here to save par. We're going to roll that in and keep ourselves at 1 under. The 6th hole is another 418 yard par 4 that doglegs to the right. I'm essentially trying to hit the exact same tee shot that I had just hit on the previous hole. It's exactly what this calls for, and knowing that I've just hit it, I'm feeling pretty comfortable with it. So, picturing the shot, just that nice little fade. Good strike, just never faded on me. It was on my start line, never moved an inch to the right. So it's fine, it's in play, but that is going to finish in the left rough. Now, the lie might look okay, but this ball was really sitting down in a bit of a hole. So I had 145 yards left in here to a back right flag. Initially I was thinking pitching wedge, but looking at the lie, I wasn't convinced I was going to be able to get much club on the ball, so I elected to pull out my 9-iron and just hit it a little bit softer, figuring anything that lands on the front of the green and releases back is great. I really don't want to challenge that flag and go long because there isn't much space past it. And that's exactly what I did. Landed it on the front third of the green, let it release. Now that looks close from this angle. We were still actually pretty far away from the hole, but that's a quality shot from where we were there in the lie that we had. So that leaves me this long look at birdie here, and say about 45 feet. This is going to go uphill and then crest, go back down the hill a little bit, turning from left to right all the way. I had a pretty good read on this. You know, I've played this course quite a lot. I'm starting to feel comfortable on these greens. I just wanted to put a good roll on this, leave it close to the hole.
Oh my God.
And that is an absolute bonus. That putt looked good the entire way. So that birdie got us to 2 under after 6. The 7th hole is a par 3 today, playing 202 yards to a back left flag. The wind was a little off the right here, so I decided that I was going to hit 6-iron, and I was going to hit a draw and kind of ride that wind to try and get the ball back to that flag. Now, if the ball doesn't draw, I leave it middle of the green, fine. If it draws, it just gets it closer and closer to the flag. Man, I hit that one well. Just a really, really quality iron shot right there. That's in the back third of the green. That's going to give us a very makeable birdie putt. So you see, we have about 12 feet here. Bit of a tricky read. There isn't a lot of break at the back part of this green, so it's very hard sometimes to know if it's going to be straight or if it's going to go one way or the other. I felt underfoot that it was going to break ever so slightly to the left, so I started this inside the right edge of the hole, put a good roll on it, good pace,
Yes.
dropped it right into the middle of the hole. That is back-to-back birdies to get us to 3 under par through 7. The 8th hole is a par 5, 550 yards, pretty straight away. Good par 5. I mean, it's long, the green's a little bit elevated. It's not tricky necessarily, but you do have to hit a few good shots if you want to make birdie on this one. So I'm hitting driver, and I've been missing left a little bit with the injury, so I'm going to favor the right-hand side a little bit here. And just hit it straight down my line. It's actually a really nice swing, exactly where I was aimed. Unfortunately, it is going to land in the fairway, but roll through into the rough onto the side of this little mound here. So I have 256 yards in here. This is my hybrid. I'm just trying to get it up onto the green, but the ball was sitting up so well that I actually kind of got under it, just popped it up off the top of the club face. Didn't really see that coming, but it's fine. Leaves us short, but we are in the fairway. We're not in any trouble. This leaves us 43 yards here going up to this elevated green, pin a little bit at the front. So if I want to get this close, I'm going to have to clip it nicely and get some spin on it. Which I do, but I just hit it too hard. You know, I was trying to hit that about 40 and I hit my 50-yard shot by accident. So good execution, bad length of swing, gives us a long birdie putt here. We got about 35-40 feet here. This is pretty straight overall, though it's going to break both ways throughout the putt. But I was starting this for such a long putt just outside right of the hole, as it was going to break to the left early and then back to the right at the end. Another really nice roll, really good line, just a little bit short for distance, but I've said this before, I'm going to say it again, I am feeling very, very confident with this new putter in my hands.
Yeah, go ahead.
The 9th hole is a short par 4 coming in at 370 yards, but it does take driver out of play. This doglegs sharply to the right. You're just trying to hit to the fairway plateau, you know, something about a 230 or 240 shot. Now this was back into the wind, so I'm going to hit my hybrid here, just trying to place it, give myself a good approach to the green. Good strike, but pulled. It's definitely a little further left than I would have liked it. It's going to work out fine, but we are going to be in the rough. So 149 yards in here to a pin on the right side of the green, wind off the left. I'm hitting 9-iron, feeling good about this. Another pull, really well hit, but pulled pretty heavily. You're going to see where that ball is going to finish. You can see on this angle how much higher I am than the pin. So this is going to be a pretty treacherous putt, to be honest. Going way downhill, and it's a big time double breaker. This is going to go left early towards the back of the green as it goes down the tier. And then once it's finished getting down onto the bottom level, it should go sharply to the right. So yes, line is important here, but this is really all about pace. Now, I definitely gave this a little bit of extra gas, and this was by design. Now, yeah, I probably gave it a little bit too much than I needed to, as that goes well past the hole. The last thing I wanted to do was leave that short, because the par putt from above the hole was going to be really, really difficult. At least now I've left myself an uphill putt, breaking from right to left, that I can get aggressive with. And I don't know how that didn't fall. It just hooked right up around the back of the hole. That's a bogey. That gets us back to 2 under after 9. The 10th hole is a 402-yard par 4 that doglegs to the left. There is also water down the left-hand side. I'm hitting hybrid here for placement. Again, longer clubs just really bring the water into play, and I don't see it as a fair trade-off. Now I've just pulled a couple of shots, so I'm aiming a little bit more down the right and put a bit of an anti-left swing on it. This was definitely not going anywhere near the water. Now it's fine, it's going to be in the fairway, but it does mean that my second shot is going to be much longer than I would like. We have 182 yards here, going back into wind, over the water to a back left flag. This is a little 6-iron here. Really nice strike, on a good line, just slightly left of the flag. Finishes pin high. That shot felt great. For the wildlife segment, we have a goose. So we have this putt, I'm going to say about 9-10 feet, going uphill, breaking slightly from left to right to get that bogey back from the last hole, get us back to 3 under. And I felt great about this putt. Felt good about the read. I've got a good feel for the pace. In my mind, there was no chance that this was going to miss. Hit a great putt, and you're not going to see it. I actually started walking that in, and at the last second, it stopped breaking to the right and lipped out. And I was literally shocked that that didn't go in. That gives you an idea of where I'm at mentally with the putting right now. Don't think it's ever felt this good. The 11th hole is a 554-yard par 5. This one doglegs a bit to the left. This was playing into the wind, and the ball really wasn't traveling in the cold, so off the tee was definitely thinking that this was going to be a 3-shot hole. I'm just trying to play my driver a little bit down the right-hand side, just to make sure that I give myself a good angle in case I decide to go for it in 2, though I know that that is going to be highly unlikely. This ended up bouncing left back into the fairway. Worked out really nicely. Pretty good drive, just faded on me a touch, but overall happy with the swing. It's not like it was far offline. We had 253 yards left, and I figured 3-wood wasn't worth it trying to go for it in 2. If I didn't hit it on line to this flag, the up and downs weren't going to be very simple, so I elected to lay up with a 7-iron. Hit that really good, nice flight, but man, the ball just didn't go anywhere. It was about this point in the round that I started struggling physically a little bit. So I've got 107 yards left. This is my gap wedge, going downhill to this front flag, just trying to flight one down here. Land it just past the flag, get it to stop and maybe spin back a little bit, and it never even sniffed the front edge. So the trend of wedge distances with this injury continues. So well off the front edge here. Normally I'd like to pitch this onto the green and get it to stop, but there just wasn't much room there, so I have to chip this into the bank, let that stop the ball. All in all, well played. I expected it to take a bit of a bigger first bounce, but we have left ourselves a very makeable par putt, and the par putt is an uphill effort, which is also going to make things a little bit easier for us. Going past this flag, the putts get very quick. So this to clean up for our par. We managed to drop that in 2 under par through 11. The 12th hole is a short par 4, 352 yards, dog legs to the left, and again, like the 10th hole, there is water on the left. Now, I would normally hit 4-iron on this hole, but again, I'm not feeling great physically at this point. It is cold, the ball isn't traveling, and we have the wind into a little bit, so hybrid it is. Now, this works out. It finishes in the left side of the fairway, but really, really not well struck. But we will take that. That is a good miss. Leaves us 134 yards in here. Pin is on the left side of the green. Wind into and off the right. I've got a 9-iron, and I'm trying to draw it into the hole here. And it started on my line and just never drew. So it does finish pin high, but unfortunately it's significantly further away than I was hoping. So this look for birdie here, it's obviously an outside chance. It's a long putt. It's also downhill, sneaky fast, and breaking from left to right. And I have to be careful here because right after the hole, it goes downhill very quickly. So this is really all about pace. If the hole gets in the way, fine. Just missed it on the low side, but excellent effort there, especially when it comes to pace. I will tap that in for my par. The 13th hole is a par 3 today, playing 196 yards, back into the wind, pin back right, wind into and a little bit off the right. I'm hitting a 5-iron, and I'm really not trying to go at this flag. I'm trying to go just to the middle of the green. I just want to give myself 2 putts for my par on this tough par 3. And this was a very, very poor swing. It was right of the green as soon as it came off the club face. We'll see, it does kick a little bit left, but that was absolutely not where you wanted to miss that shot. You're going to see I'm in this collection area. I'm well below the surface of the green, and I'm a little bit short-sighted. So this is tough. I've got my lob wedge out. I'm opening up the face. I'm trying to kind of pitch something up onto the green and let it release. And the club just like really slid under the ball there. Honestly, I felt like that was a little bit unlucky. I felt like the execution was good. The ball just came out completely dead. So I've got this putt here from the fringe to save my par. It's about 20 feet. It's going to go uphill and then crest, go downhill, breaking a little bit from right to left all the way. Would be lovely if we could get this to drop to stay at 2 under. Yeah, unfortunately, just lacked a little bit of pace on that one. That's an unfortunate bogey, but honestly, after the poor quality iron from the tee, kind of deserved it. So clearly we're leaking oil at this point. I'm not feeling great. I'm just trying to grind through and get through this round because we've been in contention throughout the day. At one point we were at the top of the leaderboard and we're slowly seeing it slip away. 14 is a 420-yard par 4, dog legs to the right. I'm hitting driver. Another poor golf swing here. This was a push fade, kind of like the 5-iron on the previous hole. I'm going to go ahead, hit a provisional, just in case. Hit the provisional great. Player B, I don't know what it is about him, just so much better than player A. We do find the first ball, it hit some trees and came down, fell into the rough to the right of the cart path. We do not have an angle at the green whatsoever, so this is a 9-iron, and I'm just going to kind of chip this back out into the fairway, give myself a wedge shot into the green here. So we have 113 yards left in for our third shot on this par 4. This is a gap wedge, pin is front right, wind is off the right, and this one did better for distance, but a big pull, like pin high, but well left. And this leaves us a very, very slippery downhill left to right breaking putt for our par. So felt like I had a good read on this. Again, not a putt you can get aggressive with. This is a few holes now where I have not left myself in a very good spot.
Oh.
Again, just missed on the low side, but it was a great roll, great for pace, really good effort from that distance. Leaves me a short uphill bogey putt. We're going to roll that in, but unfortunately that takes us back to even par for the day. 15 is another par 4, 403 yards, dog legs to the right, and as you can see there is water down the right hand side. So I'm playing 3-wood here. Driver just a little bit aggressive, can go right through the fairway into those trees if you go a little bit left. 3-wood to me is the play. Good swing, but another slight pull. It's not the end of the world. It's going to finish in the fairway, but it just makes our approach shot that much longer. So we have 171 yards in here. This is an 8-iron. The pin is at the back of the green on a top shelf that is not very deep, so distance control is very important here. There's a great strike, just a bit of a push. Lands up on the top level. All in all, from 171 yards out, that's a very good golf shot. Unfortunately, that ball did just run onto the back fringe, but we've still got a decent look at birdie here. So I've got 4 holes left. I'm by no means out of this, but I want to make some birdies here, get myself back into this. If we have a strong finish, there is still a chance that we can win this thing. Great roll, great read. Just slipped out a little bit on the high side. You could argue maybe I just had a little bit too much pace on that, but it was a good effort. Leaves me a short par putt. I'm going to take my time, line it up, and finish up so that I can get out of my playing partner's way. Even par with 3 holes to go. 16 is a par 3. Obviously, as you can see, water down the right side of the hole. This was playing 181 yards today, pin on the left side of the green. This was back into wind. I'm going to hit a flighted down 6-iron here. Just try to start it at the middle of the green and had a little bit of a draw just to get it back going towards the flag a little bit. Another good strike. It was the flight I was looking for. Nice, safe shot on this challenging par 3. That is going to give us a pretty decent look at birdie on this hole. This putt goes back uphill, breaks from right to left. Now, This pin was really strange right at the base of a slope going up to a top tier, so I honestly felt like if I hit this hard enough, it might have had 2 chances to go in. But I'm not going to try that. I'm just going to try and make the putt like a normal person. Really good roll. Just missed on the high side. You can see that ball, even though it only went about a foot past, started to come back down that slope. So who knows, maybe if I'd hit it a little bit harder, maybe it would have come back in, but unfortunately just a strange pin placement there. So we are still at even par with 2 holes left, 17 being a par 5. Challenging par 5, 546 yards, and you can see that even if you hit a good drive, there is that tree in the middle of the fairway that you have to contend with on your second shot. So I'm trying to take my drive down the right side of the fairway to give myself an angle to green in 2, and unfortunately this goes just a little bit further right than intended. Looked like it was just in the right rough, just right of the cart path. Turns out it went a little bit further right than I expected and ended up in the trees. Honestly, I was lucky to find this, and I was lucky to be able to chip it out. There was not much of a shot there, but that was a pitching wedge. Just kind of muscle it out of there, put it back in the fairway. Ideally would have left that a little bit more on the right side of the fairway because I don't have an angle. The flag is left of that tree from where we are now. So I'm going to have to lay up. Still had 258 yards in from here. This is just an 8-iron that I'm going to advance past the tree and right of it to put it in the fairway there and give myself a wedge in. 80 yards here for my 4th shot. This is my lob wedge, and I'd love to be able to get this up and down for par. And again, a pull. It's just been pretty consistent pulls on this back 9 as the body starts to get a little more tired. I start to be in a little bit more pain. Decent look here for par. About 15 feet, going uphill. Should break a little bit from left to right as the entire green slopes from back to front. Really good roll, great for pace. Just never turned, which was a little bit frustrating. Not sure how that putt can't turn based on the slope on that green. Good effort. Unfortunate bogey. That takes us to 1 over with 1 hole to play. Now we were playing up a box on 18, so this is only 350 yards. Gets pretty narrow the further up you go, so I'm just hitting a hybrid off the tee. This is gonna give me a wedge shot in anyway. By no means really playing it safe. Good strike, again just a slight pull down the left side. Really hoping that this stops in the fairway. Unfortunately, it's going to land in the fairway and run through into the rough. That leaves us 110 yards here. A little bit downhill, a little bit downwind. Now this is a tricky flag. You want to keep it short right. This is my sand wedge. Keeping it short right will give you the most makeable birdie putt. You're going to see that it lands short right. Because it was coming out of the rough and it was downhill, there's just no stopping power there. Not able to generate enough spin. That ends up pin high in the fringe, which is by all means not a bad shot. This is going to be uphill a little bit still, but because it got 2 pin high, this is going to have a serious amount of break from right to left in it. So hard to match up line and pace on a putt like this. I got the pace right, but definitely a bit of an overread there. So I've left myself just a little bit of work here for my par to close out the day. But I'm going to mark, because I would have been standing in one of my playing partner's lines. We will tap in for par. And that caps off a 1 over par 73. Bit of a frustrating day. I mean, I'm not going to say I'm overly frustrated. I know I'm playing through an injury, but to have been in contention early when my body was cooperating obviously was a lot of fun. That's why we play. And just to see myself slowly, physically fall apart as the day went on was very frustrating, knowing what could have been if I could have remained healthy throughout the day. Alright guys, back at home, let's recap today's round. So physically, I was in better shape today than I was yesterday at the U.S. Open qualifier. Still not great, but yesterday was pretty rough. It was good to see that when my body cooperates, I can go out and play some pretty good golf. It felt great to be in contention early. I mean, that's why we play. You know, just put yourself somewhere up near the top of the leaderboard, try to battle it out. It was great to feel those really competitive juices going again. My putting and short game continue to be strengths this year, which I'm thrilled about. Obviously an important aspect of the game of golf, and especially in tournament golf, because if you make a mistake somewhere, having a strong short game to rely on can help you limit damage, save some pars, and kind of not take yourself out of the event. And another positive is that my mental game today was very strong. In fact, it was also strong at the US Open qualifier yesterday. It hasn't really been shaky since my first event, and I find that every year my first event, because I'll go, 6 months without playing an event, that I am always a little bit shaky in that first event. But I'm really happy with where the mental game has been, keeping myself very level on the course, not getting too high, not getting too low, kind of just going one shot at a time and just plodding my way through the round. For the negatives, obviously the injury continues to be an issue. It is getting better, but I'm gonna have to be patient with the recovery, and I'm gonna have to be really diligent with the work I am doing to rehab it. It was obviously pretty frustrating to get off to a pretty good start, and then as the day kind of went on, my body started to get a little bit more sore, a little bit more tired, kind of losing my mobility a little bit, that I could really feel that the round was just kind of slipping away from me. Fought really hard nonetheless. Unfortunately, the physical struggles kind of really took me out of contention. Just a few swings that really hurt me. It wasn't all that bad, but it just seems like the misses when I start to struggle physically are just a little bit too big to overcome, and just not missing to the right spots because I just can't control what my body's doing, and in turn can't control what the club is doing, and then obviously have very little control over what the golf ball is doing. So yeah, it definitely feels like there was a bit of a missed opportunity today. I'd been 3 under through 6 or 7 holes, and the tournament ended up being won at 3 under. So if we could have just kind of held on, I mean, who knows, this is all kind of theoretical at this point. But all things being considered, I am really happy that I decided to play today. I'm happy that the work that I did last night and the treatment I got from Roxanne last night with the acupuncture helped to the point where I was able to play. Even though I'm not at 100%, I was still able to go out and perform and do some things to help build my confidence, continue working on my mental game. So even though, we kind of fell off the leaderboard, we did finish tied for 5th. I mean, it wasn't terrible, but considering where we were early, it definitely is a bit of a disappointment, but I'm not going to get too down on myself because I know that I'm doing the best that I can in the situation that I'm in. I've got a lot of work to do over the next week when it comes to rehabilitating the injury, because next week I have my Canadian Open regional qualifier. That's actually going to be hosted at my home course of Griffin des Saults. I'm very excited for that event. It is going to be an awfully tough tournament. It is a very, very difficult golf course. It plays just over 7,500 yards from the tips. I believe we're going to play it at about 7,300 yards. It's going to play tough. It tends to get pretty windy up there. The greens are small. The greens are tricky. It's going to be an absolute grind of a day. And in order to get through a day like that, I've got to make sure that my body is in better shape than it was today. It can't be quitting on me after, 10 or 11 holes. So guys, that's a wrap for this video. If you haven't already, please like the video, leave me a comment down below, and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you come back next week for the Canadian Open qualifier. That promises to be a really exciting video. Thanks a lot for watching, and as always, I'll be back again next week with another video. Cheers, guys.